Alright, I think we're live. This no damn YouTube studio. I couldn't set it for a future date. No one's watching. I gotta see if I can promote this somewhere. Like I need to... Okay. Alright, should be able to send the link here. Alright, give me a moment. Give me a moment. I think somebody's here, but I need to promote this since call him Ms. T. I wasn't ready. Alright, got one viewer say hi in the chat so I can know who's here. I got 2 viewers now. I gotta open the chat. So yeah, for those that are here, I'm using my desktop capture with OBS and my Logitech camera software, so my camera's actually not mirrored for once. Let me open the Discord. And then I'll just let everybody know I'm live streaming. And then we'll get into it. Said now. All right. I'll leave this open, I guess. But use the live chat if you want to ask any questions or make any comments. Let me open this back up, see who's watching. All right, so now that I got that out of the way, let's get into the topic. I see people jumped in and jumped out. This was a impromptu, spontaneous decision. I had thought about doing this earlier, and then I was kind of over it. By the time I got home, I was tired, cooked some dinner, watched a couple episodes of the Umbrella Academy on Netflix, and then I was like, you know what? I need to talk about this. I need to get this off my chest. So I'm going to talk about how Remedy Games put out a tweet and video announcing the Control Ultimate Edition, which has the 2 expansion DLC pass content, you know, the 2 expansions plus the original game in an Ultimate Edition. I didn't even see what the price is, which there's nothing wrong with that at all, honestly. I have no problem with an Ultimate Edition. I guess Steam's getting the game. Finally, it's been tied to the, what do you call it? What the hell is the other? What the hell? Why can't I think of it? The one with Fortnite. Epic Game Store. It's been tied to that this whole time. And it's coming out on Steam with all the DLC for $40. And guess what you get with that? All the ray tracing, all the next gen features, all in one. and it's only $40. So I'm guessing the PS4, Xbox One version's going to be, or the Steam version, or I guess all the versions I'm guessing will be $40. I don't know for sure. I can't find a price. It didn't come up on Amazon. But either way, what they're doing is, putting the DLC in the game together, which a lot of games do, complete editions, Game of the Year editions. This is called the Ultimate Edition. Nothing wrong with that, except for they are saying that if you buy this version on PS4 and Xbox One, you'll get a free upgrade on PS5 and Xbox Series X if you get those consoles. Okay, that's cool. So someone's asked, well, what about all the people who bought the original version and then bought the DLC separately? What's up, Rakia? They bought the DLC separately, so they paid $80, and maybe the expansion pass is $30. I can't remember. It's either $20 or $30. They paid $80 or $90, and they're like, oh no, the free upgrade for Control only comes with the Ultimate Edition. So anyone who buys the game on August 27th for PS4 and Xbox One, they're only those customers or all those gamers will get the free upgrade. And I'm like, what in the fuck? That is some of the dirtiest anti-consumer thing I've ever seen in all of gaming. I can't even wrap my mind around it. So you're telling me that the people that supported the game last year, paid full price for it, with all its buggy, glitchy performance issues in the first month it was out. They patched it. It runs a lot better on PS4 Pro. It's not perfect. And then they bought the expansion, and you're telling me that you're not giving those people a free upgrade if they bought a PS5 or an Xbox Series X and they put in their copy of Control that they currently have. I'm at a loss for words at where who thought that was a good idea? Who thought that was something that they should do? Is shit on the people who supported your game, bought your game, praised your game, talked about it on their Game of the Year podcast, and many times after that. You're shitting on them and saying, no, we're gonna cater to the people who are coming late to the party, who are gonna buy this Ultimate Edition that's not even full price. And those are the people we're going to reward with enhancing their version of the game if they choose to buy a PS5 or an Xbox Series X. It makes absolutely no sense. No sense. It's the same game, just with the DLC all in one package. Just from a technical standpoint, I don't understand what difference it even makes. And Microsoft's pushing smart delivery and enhancements for all these old games, and here's a third-party company who's asking gamers to rebuy an Ultimate Edition of the same game in order to get the enhancements, or go out and buy a PS5 or Xbox Series X version. I know that Control wasn't a huge seller, and there's a lot of people who haven't played it, and this doesn't affect them right now. But if we don't stand up for this and stand against this and unite as gamers, like, this is just the beginning. This shit will get so bad if people don't start calling them out, tweeting, retweeting. We got to start a movement. Like I said, even if you don't care about this game, if this becomes the new standard practice for third parties, if this is successful, it's game over for this coming generation. For new games, for discounted games, for, like, this is some of the tactics they're going to try, because Xbox and PlayStation have done full backwards compatibility, so they can't get away with just re-releasing every single game like they did this generation, because there's no backwards compatibility. For the most part, Xbox added it later, but it's not for every game. they're like, whoa, the architecture is different. You can't you can't just have backwards compatibility with the cell processor from the PS3 to the PS4, and it's a legit reason. So what they did is almost, I feel like it's like 75%, 50. It's 50 to 75% of all last, 7th gen games, third party, got ported to the 8th gen, and they weren't all full price. Some were 40, some were maybe even cheaper. We got some collections, but they resell the same game. Yeah, there's visual improvements and stuff, but we let them get away with it. And a lot of people blame Sony. I see it all the time. I saw it just the other day. Well, Sony got away with releasing all these ports. No, Sony only released God of War 3, The Last of Us Remastered. Those are the only single ports. And then they did 2 collections. They did the Nathan Drake collection, which was all Sony. And then they did the Beyond Two Souls and whatever other game they published, I believe. It wasn't even their, it's not even their studios that made those games. And what's up, TriLink? That's all Sony did. Microsoft did the Master Chief Collection, and they remastered Gears of War 1. That's it. They didn't bring all their old games. So this is a third-party thing, and people are still defending. I've seen people defending the Control stuff. Well, that's just like buying a port or a remaster. No. Right now, on August 27th, you could buy the PS4 version of Control, the Ultimate Edition. Same exact content, same exact everything I have that I bought and paid for last year and bought the expansion this year. The same exact stuff, except you're getting the PS5 and Series X upgrades, and I don't. And this isn't just about I'm not getting it. This is the same kind of bullshit that, I hate to say it, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I was part of the problem. Nintendo saw how much money they can make on an old game, porting it to Switch, and the floodgates have opened. And I've been harping on it. I've been talking about it since 2018. Since January 2018, I've been on the forefront. I was the first person out of this entire community who called out Nintendo for all the ports. And it hasn't gotten any better. This year we have 2 Wii U ports confirmed. You have a Game Boy Advance or DS Pokemon game that got remastered. And then you have a remastered port of a Wii game, Xenoblade Chronicles. That's 4 old games. We've gotten 2 new games. Animal Crossing, Paper Mario. It just, once you let them in and let it happen, then it's just become the standard. And I know people are going to watch this and, oh, well, it doesn't affect me. I don't care about Control. Well, guess what? Control is just the beginning. If we don't stand up like the Halo fans, like the Xbox gamers, their voices were heard. And guess what? Halo Infinite got delayed because people were like, yeah, I'm sure Paper Mario is actually good. I mean, you got 2 good games, but just 2 new games versus 4 old games re-released. And who knows what's left to come. But anyway, the Xbox community, gamers, united, everyone was making fun of Halo Infinite, the Craig memes, hilarious. And just like, that's not a next-gen game. That's not a 12 teraflop of horsepower looking Halo game. And people talked about it. They complained about it. They made videos about it. And guess what? Microsoft had to make a tough decision, and they're delaying Halo Infinite indefinitely. So 2021 at some point. And that wouldn't have happened if people just kept quiet and just said to themselves, oh, it doesn't look that good. Maybe I'll just skip it. No, it was all the Twitter, all the trending memes, and everybody just saying, hell, that's not an acceptable looking next-gen Halo game. And I have a feeling Phil Spencer was like, well, hold on a second. Let me talk to the studio and find out what the hell's happening. And maybe he finally heard some truth from the heads at 343. Because if you watch Richard Review Tech's video about how there's a lot of turmoil and stuff going on there, and a lot of poor management. So people spoke up, and shit got changed, and now they're delaying the biggest game at would have been, at the launch of their new system, and that's going to hurt them. But they made the decision, and there's just no denying that it was the fans speaking out that led to it. And that's the kind of shit we need to do before this generation even begins. I see IGN had an article basically calling out Control for not giving the upgrade to current owners of the game. Eurogamer had an article. We need to see more people talk about it. I need to see more people tweeting about it. And whether you care about that game or not, we got to stop it now. If we don't stop it now, it's become a problem that we can't do anything about later on. It's just we can't let it happen. And just like I said, people were okay with it, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because we didn't imagine it'd be the first of like 9 Nintendo Wii U ports from Nintendo themselves. It wasn't lazy. They added some good stuff, but we didn't think it was going to become the biggest selling game and be the first of many Wii U ports instead of sequels to those franchises. There's no way I say for myself, Meza T, everybody else, there was no way any of us who bought Mario Kart 8 Deluxe thought that was going to be the death of Nintendo's commitment to releasing new games and certain franchises every generation. No new Mario Kart game. I mean, there's still time, obviously, for a new Donkey Kong, new 2D Mario game, new Pikmin. Captain Toad I wouldn't really count on, but you never know. We know Bayonetta 3, that's it. I've missed a couple. Tokyo Mirage Sessions, that was a flop. That's out of all the ports, that was the only one that was a flop, that bombed, that tanked. All the other ones sold at least 1 million, 5 million, 8 million. They were all successful or profitable in Nintendo's terms, but getting away from Nintendo again, the third parties got away with a lot this generation. I bought Wolfenstein, the New Blood, or whatever it's called, before Wolfenstein 2, the New Colossus came out. I was like, well, let me pick up the previous one, and so I just got on Best Buy or Amazon, wherever I bought it. Just added it to my cart for PS4, bought it, turned on the game after installing, I think it's like 40, 50 gigs, and then realized it was a damn PS3 game. It just in 1080p, I could tell immediately the character models look last gen, the environments look last gen. I'm like, this is a last gen game? Like, is every game ported to the PS4 now? It's like, I was so disappointed with that, and then it just felt like a Call of Duty wannabe type game, and I just couldn't get into it. But I didn't even know that was a previous gen game. I thought it was an early 8th gen game. I would have never bought it if I'd known that. I only paid like $20 or whatever, but still, it's like every fucking 7th gen game, third party, is on the PS4 and Xbox One. I just don't understand how that was kind of flew under the radar, and it's like, then they're doing a lot of that stuff on the Switch. We're getting a lot of 360 ports on the Switch, and it's like, I know that it's harder, and there's some of the new games are a little more demanding and stuff, but it's like, that's the best you can do, third parties, but we're just letting them get away with it. And I just feel like this is the time to stand up and say, this is not going to fly with us. We're not going to support this stuff, and don't even try it. But I'm afraid that gamers won't care enough, because it's not a big game. It wasn't a huge seller, And some people say, well, the difference is there's backwards compatibility on PS5 and Series X. So then it's like they actually have to stop somehow. There's enough of a programming code difference where it's going to be able to tell, hey, this is the non-ultimate edition of Control. Don't download any upgraded features and visuals. And oh, this one is the ultimate. Oh yeah, download the high res textures and implement the ray tracer, whatever. It's like they had to actually work to make sure that someone like me with the original version of Control isn't going to get these upgrades. Like they had to probably go out of their way to make sure it doesn't happen. It's the same damn game. Like it's not like they rebuilt the game and for PS4 and Xbox One for this Ultimate Edition, and it's like some new version like Tomb Raider Definitive Edition on PS4 and Xbox One had a completely different character model from the PC version and the 360 PS3 version. So it was actually quite a bit different. And as far as I know, Control didn't do anything like that. TriLink, sadly, I don't think Mario Kart 9 is not coming to Switch. Why would they put Mario Kart 9 on the Switch when Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is at, what, 26 million? It would be absolutely the dumbest thing Nintendo could do. Would be to release Mario Kart 9. Does what have extra content? Well, Control doesn't. It's just the DLC, the expansion stuff that I own right now in the original Control game in one package. And obviously it's got Ultimate Edition in the title, so maybe the title screen's different. Let's see, this all started in HD generation. It was a good idea. Yeah, I mean, the HD generation, that was completely... People were excited to see games in HD, like Shadow of the Colossus and Ico in HD. Hell yeah, sign me up. Put those two games together, $40-$50, whatever it was. Sign me up. The God of War. I don't even know if they did God of War collection on PS3, but they probably did. See these games in HD, even though it was, just they upped the native resolution, didn't make these games look amazing or anything, but that was a lot more acceptable because a lot of them were collections, like the Nathan Drake collection on the PS4. A lot of them were collections, and we're going from standard def to HD, and I don't think any of them were ever full price if it was a single game. Like I said, most of them were collections. The Ratchet and Clank collection and Sly Cooper collection. So you're getting multiple games for the price of one or even less. GTA 5 released on PS3 360 at full price, released on PS4 Xbox One full price, and I'll be releasing on PS5 Xbox Series X at full price. Well, we don't know if it's going to be full price, but it probably will. And then the PS4 and Xbox One versions came out within a year after the 360 PS3, I believe. So it was almost, it was still selling pretty much full price on the other platforms, but that game's been $20 or less for the last 4 years. And yeah, GTA 5, that out of all the games that should be giving free upgrades, of all the companies that should be rewarding their fans, I said Control's the worst, but actually GTA 5's worse because it's the highest selling game of all time. They've made billions of dollars on that game. The GTA Online community, still active, still making billions of dollars off people. And you can't give them free upgrade if they have the PS4 or Xbox One version and they put it in their Series X or PS5. You can't give those gamers a free upgrade like the PC gamers get. That's the other thing. This is the first generation where you have the exact same architecture going from the previous generation to the new generation. You just have a higher spec CPU, new architect, new, more efficient, and a higher GPU. They're both 8-core, previous gen, this gen. You add more RAM, you have a higher spec GPU. It's almost exactly like a PC at this point. Xbox Series X even more so because it uses a Windows platform. The operating system is going to be pretty much identical. There's absolutely no excuse for anybody, any game, to have a PS5 or Series X version of a game that came out this generation. If you're gonna put in the work to like add ray tracing or take advantage of the solid state drive, improve textures or character models, whatever you do, I don't care if you put out a, let's say Control. I don't care if you put out a repackaged Control as a PS5 or Series X game, but don't do it as a new game and then say, well, backwards compatibility. Well, you can play the base PS4 version or PS4 Pro version if you have the PS4 version. It's like, that makes no sense. The Epic Store version of Control got a patch to add DLSS, which is like up converting. Got the first one. Then they added ray tracing for free. And then they added DLSS 2.0, which greatly improves the upscaling, and like even the lower end, the 2060 graphics card can run that game. Runs it at like 540 or 720p, and it upscales to 1440p, 4K, no problem, without massive hits to the frame rate. So you can have ray tracing on and have the game look nearly 4K quality, if not better in some areas, but it's actually only running at like 720p or 1080p, and then you can hit 40, 50, 60 frames per second with ray tracing. They added all that shit for free, and Xbox Series X and PS5 are just x86 architecture, just like the previous generation, just with more powerful CPU and GPU, and yet you think you're going to charge for a new version. It makes no sense. Microsoft kind of got the ball rolling with the with what do they call it? They got the Series X enhancement and the smart delivery. As soon as that got announced, I bet you third parties were scrambling. How are we going to resell our games? What are we going to do? And this was one of their ideas. Well, we'll release an Ultimate Edition and then make that be the requirement for the upgrade. Maybe somebody will rebuy the game for PS4 with the DLC so they can get the PS5 version. Well, guess what? I already bought the DLC. I already bought the expansions. Why would I rebuy a new package of the same exact content so I get a PS5 upgrade? It's just fucking stupid. And yeah, GTA 5 was free on the Epic Store a few weeks ago. We don't know what they're going to charge for GTA 5 on the new console. So if it's full price, that's going to be, ridiculous. I know people will buy it, but I was talking about that a little bit ago. That game's made so much money. You have such a loyal fan base, and you can't give them a free upgrade. Add some ray trace, whatever they're going to add. What's it going to cost Rockstar and 2K or whatever to optimize and add features to take advantage of the PS5? What are we talking at most? $1 million? 500,000? 1.5? Who knows? They've made billions of dollars off this game. Billions. And it's probably going to cost them $1 million or something in development to take advantage of the next generation. And they're going to charge their loyal fans, their sheep fans that will buy it, and we're going to stand here and accept that. It's one thing for Nintendo fans to defend the Wii U Ports situation at full price. But defending Rockstar or any of these other companies for charging for their huge selling games, recharging for next gen versions when they're fully backwards compatible, and Microsoft's leading the way with smart delivery and free enhancements. What do you think the price will be for a Switch version of Metroid Prime Trilogy? Well, it'd be $60. It was $50 on the Wii, and depends on if they just up-res it and make it control like the GameCube version. It'll be another inferior Switch port. if they somehow make gyro work where it works really well, it'll be on par and be better, obviously, with the visuals, but it'll be 60 if they release it. And it's just absolutely ridiculous to, I mean, it was $50 on Wii, and that was what, 2009, 2010, maybe 2000. I think it was 2009. This many years later, put a little work into it. I don't care about people always talk about the new content. Who gives a shit? Did you care about the new content in Captain Toad when they took out the 3D World content? So basically, they just added a few new levels. Like, is that worth $40 for a few new levels for you that already owned it? Is it worth $60 to have a Funky Kong mode in Tropical Freeze? Is it worth $60 more to have Bayonetta 2 run at 50 to 60 frames per second instead of 40 to 60? Average about 45, I think, on Wii U. Now averages 55 on Switch. For 10 frames a second, is that worth $60 additional dollars? New Super Mario Bros. U. Oh, that came with Luigi U. Well, New Super Mario Bros. U and Luigi U was a Nintendo Select title for $30 for both games on Wii U. And don't tell me that game saw any benefit from going to 1080p. They doubled the price. There. Shit. I was getting way cut off. Sorry about that. Alright. What do you think? Who's defending the Wii U ports at full price? Everybody, but it seems like me, Mezza clocked it, and Retro Death. That everybody else, from your OJs to all your big YouTubers, all your big Nintendo fan guys, are defending the price. Well, it's making up the development cost losses from the Wii U versions. Don't forget, with Bayonetta 2 Switch, they didn't even have the decency to give it both games on one cart or two carts. Exactly, you had to download the second game. Hyrule Warriors is the only one that genuinely feels like it's the definitive version. You get all the 3DS content, characters. You get the Wii U content and a few other new characters. And yeah, I mean, 60, I still think it should have been 50, 40. But that one gives you the most legit new stuff. But still, it's Hyrule Warriors. It's a repetitive, play the same levels over and over. It doesn't matter how many characters there are. There's just, for me, I wasn't going to rebuy it. But I guess I'm going to get into this other thing. I have this theory. I wasn't planning on this, but fuck it. Got people watching. It's just a theory. It's an idea. I think it's pretty accurate. I think I'm onto something, but I'm sure no one else, and not too many people will agree. I think the Switch hardware, the Switch itself, is holding back Nintendo's game development. And what I mean by that is the Switch, for whether it's technically the power or the fact that they have to have it work in handheld and then docked, for something's happening that's causing games to trickle out. Like I said on the Juice Loose podcast, this 2016 for the Wii U, 2013 for the Wii U, everyone says is like the worst drought in history, and about that year had as many new games and had brand new third-party games. That year is better year than what we've seen in this year on the Switch and 2018 on the Switch. But let me check these before I get deep into this topic. Only problem I have with the ports is price. I legit think it's cool to have previously console games on the go. It just shouldn't be full retail price when it's been $20 for a half dozen years exactly. We should have Hyrule Warriors 2. That's another thing. You're not getting sequels. They released the game 3 times already. I'm guessing that's GTA. Maybe, I don't know. But let me get into this. The Switch is holding back game development. I truly believe this. So we're getting games trickling out. Right now we have 2 games for the whole year, new games. Nintendo used with whether it was the Wii and the DS, the Wii U, the 3DS, the GameCube, Game Boy Advance, had enough studios, enough money invested to have, I don't know the count, but it felt like between the two, almost a new game every month, maybe every month and a half, sometimes 2 months. And now we're getting 2 new games this year and some old games. Yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles had a lot more development involved than like Tokyo Mirage Sessions or Pikmin 3. Clubhouse games, no. I mean, minimal effort. I mean, yeah, it might be a good package, but what do you think the development team was on a game like that? The other thing is, on Wii U, one of the biggest talking points, to try to talk people into buying the system or have what its merits are, you got all these exclusives, this great library of exclusive games, and almost every single one of them ran at 60 frames per second. I did a list. I wasn't counting like Wii Fit U or Wii Party U or that WarioWare whatever that Wario game trash game was on Wii U. I didn't count those. There was like 17 or 18 new exclusive games on Switch, whether it was first or second party deals, that ran at 60 frames per second. Yeah, a couple of them, the Platinum Games ones, didn't really hit 60 very often, but most of the Nintendo ones, all the Nintendo ones were like locked 60 frames per second. Digital Foundry was the only like journalistic style websites, YouTube channel who was talking positive about the Wii U consistently. Wow, man, they are just really delivering on 60 frames per second. Clean visuals, it was 720p for most games except for Smash was 1080. And just that 60 frames per second bliss. And then on Switch, as far as new games, there's 9. There's half as many, and by the end of this year, it'll be the same amount of time as the Wii U's entire life. And the Wii U had, like, I think it was 17 or 18. I had the list. I left it at work. 60 frames per second games, new exclusive games, not ports, not remasters, not remakes, new games. And the Switch is at 9 right now, and they have like. So first of all, let me just go down this real quick. Breath of the Wild comes out, has performance issues, has weird pauses, freezes when you hit moblins, when you kill them, and then the Korok Forest runs like trash around the Temple of Time, run stuttering like crazy. They fixed it a bit, but it's not perfect. The Korok Forest still runs poorly. Then we get, I would say the next issue, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, has major resolution and frame rate problems. Well, handheld has major resolution problems, dips to like 360p. You had glitch where the if you walked out in a certain field and it just really started to chug. There's a lot of slowdown in the big battles with all the shit going on. And it's like, this is very un-Nintendo like, that's Monolith, and then we get Kirby, a 2D side scroller that runs at 30 frames per second. Never before, I would be curious if you could look it up, is Nintendo released a 2D side scroller at 30 frames per second. I'd be curious on a home console, not like the Game Boy version or Game Boy Advance. The Ori and the Blind Forest looks just as good on Switch as Kirby. It's a different art style. That runs at a lock 60. It runs just like the Xbox One version. Kirby Star Allies can't even run at 60 frames per second. That should have been kind of a red flag right there. Then we get Yoshi's Crafted World. That runs at 60, but it's not even, it's sub HD. They can't even hit 720p on a Yoshi game when the Wii U version was 720p lock 60 the entire game. Like, so we got the 60 in a game, but it can't even run at the same resolution as the Wii U game. Yeah, there's more realistic looking visuals, I guess, going on. They use a different game engine, but I mean that's non-typical Nintendo to have a game look like it's not the, almost all their games are like, wow, how'd they get that to look that good on the Wii? How'd they get that to look that good on the GameCube? Look at how amazing these games look. And you get 60 frames per second, they got to sacrifice and go below 720p. Like, I feel like they're having a dilemma where they're having to choose, like with Kirby, to go 30 frames per second so they can hit 1080, or do 60 and have it be 900p, 720p, or less. And I just know in my heart, this is a theory, that they have that tried and true, like, 60 frames per second mentality. Even on the Wii, the fucking Galaxy games run at 60 as far as I know. I guess I don't know that for 100% fact. I feel like they do. Metroid Prime 3, I noted. Metroid Prime 1 and 2, 60 frames per second on the GameCube look glorious. They just always kind of have been able to push their systems. And if it just feels like something's off, we're getting these experiences that are atypical. And it wasn't until Luigi's Mansion 3 that I feel like we got our first true Nintendo-like experience on the Switch. Yeah, you could say Smash Ultimate, but that was already 1080p 60 on the Wii U, and they just, added some lighting and some facial animations to some characters and stuff. I mean, that one wasn't that hard to achieve. But it really feels like Luigi's Mansion 3 was the first game to not have to make a major sacrifice to hit either 1080p or hit a consistent frame rate. Like, maybe it's because it's 30 frames per second, but that game looks like a next-gen Nintendo game that everyone said the Switch was a nice leap over the Wii U visually. Luigi's Mansion 3 actually looks like that. And then you get Animal Crossing, another beautiful-looking game, 1080p, and that's 30, but those games were never 60. I forgot to mention Link's Awakening. You do a remake of a Game Boy game, and it drops from 60 to 30 and then hovers around 40 in certain areas. That's just not typical Nintendo. That game should have been locked at 30 if you can't even hit 60 with a top-down style Zelda game. Something is going on, and I really feel like that's what's taking why these games are taking longer to come out, and why they're deciding to bring ports of Wii U games instead of new games. I kind of feel like they're just like, well, we can't really make a new Mario Kart game. Maybe that wasn't the decision for that one in particular, but just as an example, we can't really make it look like a next-gen leap. It's going to look almost identical to Mario Kart 8. What should we do? And then I just feel like, release the port instead. Well, we can't really make a new Pikmin game look that much different. It's going to have to run at 540p if we really want to push visuals. And maybe they're not thinking like this at all, but this is kind of how it feels to me. And maybe they're just having to take more time to try to optimize these games and really get as much as they can out of the Switch's hardware, so that it feels like you're getting some kind of improvement over the Wii U version of a game. Like Tropical Freeze looks gorgeous, runs at a lock 60. Maybe they tried to get a Donkey Kong game running at 60 on Switch, and they're just like, well, it's going to look just like Tropical Freeze level visuals. Let's just release Tropical Freeze. I mean, that to me is more of a kind of an out there theory, like a conspiracy theory shit. But that's just, I can't help but think something's going on with the Switch causing Nintendo to not be very Nintendo right now. They're just not being Nintendo-like. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, even if Paper Mario Origami King's a great game, it's not one of their AAA type game experiences. It's in the vein of, it's probably, I would say it's better than like Mario Tennis Aces, Yoshi or Kirby, but it's not their 3D Mario level of game. It's not their Zelda, obviously. Their Animal Crossing, they seem to go all out. I mean, that game looks gorgeous, has just amazing stuff you can do. People, there's an interview show, which Phil Spencer's going to be on tonight. I'm going to check it out probably tomorrow, called Animal Talking, and it's an interview with celebrities. It takes place inside Animal Crossing. They built like a real set, like a talk show set. It's crazy. But anyway, I don't know. Something's up, and it's not fucking COVID-19 because this shit happened in 2018. The other theory I have is that they just were really trying to get Breath of the Wild 2 out, and they pulled all hands on deck, and that's why we're not seeing more new games from other from their other studios, is because they built this huge team again to try to get Breath of the Wild 2 out this year. That's a theory I saw somebody else say, and that's a possibility. That could be what happened. Hey guys, stop what you're doing. We need help. We need to help to get Breath of the Wild 2 out, and they pulled a lot of people away from other projects. That's another possibility, but it just kind of feels like, and Clackett said it, this Nintendo didn't build this console. They partnered up with NVIDIA, and there was another video, I forget his name, he was talking about how he has sources that told him Nintendo's internally testing some new hardware, and they're trying to make sure that it plays all the current Switch games, so it's either the successor to the Switch or it's a pro version. And one of the things that was said was that they thought they were getting the new Tegra chip and kind of planned around that, and then when they got came down to price, NVIDIA wouldn't budge on the price they wanted, so they settled on taking the old Tegra chip, which at that point no one was using like a NVIDIA thought. They probably had a bunch just lying around, and they got a better deal, but it wasn't a whole lot. Like, the person wouldn't give an exact total, but he said it was a small difference in price for the new Tegra and the old Tegra, and they ended up going with the old one, and to save a few bucks or whatever per system. And then what we got was because I heard multiple people said the dev kit for the Switch had like 8 gigs of RAM, and it sounded like it was more powerful than the actual Switch itself. And then they underclocked the Tegra anyway by 50% to get it so it doesn't kill the battery and all that, and for heat. And I think they just underestimated the impact that would have on getting games developed. So it's just a theory, We've had great games, no doubt about it, but some of the best games were Wii U games. Breath of the Wild, obviously. There's not one person that's going to convince me that Odyssey wasn't a Wii U game until a year before it came out. Dev kits are normally more powerful, but I wouldn't say that much more powerful. And it goes in line with what that report that guy said, was that he heard that they thought they were getting the more efficient, newer Tegra, which kind of makes sense. But anyway, Odyssey started as a Wii U game. Miyamoto said in 2016. He said, "Well, it's kind of interesting. We got the next 3D Mario game. Do we get it out and try to salvage the Wii U basically, or do we save it for the next system?" Well, they saved it for the next system. Xenoblade Chronicles 2. There's no way that game was all Switch from start to finish. ARMS. I mean, that game could have came together in probably under a year, maybe a year. That problem probably wasn't tied to the Wii U at all, but since then, you got even Smash Brothers based off the Wii U game engine. Mario Tennis Aces based off the Wii U engine for Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. Yoshi was they use a different engine. Kirby, I don't know, because Rainbow Curse was so different. I don't know if they use anything similar. So basically, Luigi's Mansion, getting back to this, feels like the first, hey, this game engine was built for the Switch and the Switch only, and this is what we could get out of it. And now they need to, other things they're working on are probably hit at that point where it started as a Switch game the entire time, and maybe we'll see something next year that really takes advantage of it being developed from the ground up for the Switch. So far, by my count, we've only had 2 games: Animal Crossing and Luigi's Mansion 3, that truly feel like they're actually Switch games from start to finish, and they're taking full advantage, and they're not really major technical issues or anything. They both look gorgeous. They're both 1080p, and they both run at a good, lock 30 frames per second. So anyway, that's all I got. And for those that jumped in later, I hope people, just like the Xbox Halo fans, I hope people will stand up and speak out against these third-party companies and publishers, developers, whoever's making the decisions, and saying, well, Microsoft and Sony are giving you backwards compatibility, but you know what? We still want you to rebuy these games if you want a better looking version, or a version that runs with a consistent frame rate, or doesn't have certain issues and quick loading times. We want you to buy the game again. And I really hope people will like unite against that, because I'd be very disappointed. And I won't support another Remedy game, another 505 Games published game, if they stick to their guns and they don't correct the course of action with this upgrades for the Ultimate Edition. If they stay the course they're heading and just screw over anyone that currently has control, bought the DLC and bought the game, and says, nope, you're not getting upgrade with your Series X or PS5. Any company like Grand Theft Auto 5, Rockstar, 2K, instant ban. I will not support any game they release, any old game. I was thinking of buying a Quantum Break to play in the Series X. I guess I'd buy it used, but I ain't buying it new, even if it's $10. They ain't getting a dime from me. If this is the kind of shit you're going to pull, then I'm pulling my support for your company. And that's just, one person isn't going to stop them, isn't going to make a difference. But for me, from a principle standpoint, it'll make me be able to sleep at night, and I don't give a shit about missing out. If Control 2 comes out and it looks amazing, guess what? It's gonna hurt me more than it's gonna hurt them, but you're not getting my money. I don't care. Nintendo, you're not getting my money for these old ass games. I didn't buy Link's Awakening. I didn't say anything at the time. Red Knight had a podcast asking me about games we're excited for, and I didn't list Link's Awakening. He asked me why, and I didn't give him the answer because I didn't want to start. Clocked It was there with me, I believe, or T. I'm not buying old games that are full price, period. And if you're going to keep doing it, I'm not going to buy your next system. It's that simple. Yeah, Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out. So it's going to be amazing, I'm sure. There's going to be another 3D Mario game that comes out. It's going to be amazing. If 3D World Deluxe comes out, it won't. We've already had Mario Odyssey. But I'm not going to buy those games. I'm not going to buy your remakes, your remasters. If they announce a full remake of Super Mario 64, guess what? I'm not interested. I don't give a shit. I don't think it's going to blow me away visually anyway, because it's not going to look much better, if any better, than Odyssey. And Odyssey looks good, but it's not to the point where if Mario 64 looked like Mario Odyssey, where I have to have it no matter what, I'm going to have it. It's not going to be like that. It's not going to be like Resident Evil 2 versus the original, where it's just mind-blowing at what they pulled off with the visuals, the sound, and then they actually changed the game up for the better and made it Resident Evil 4 style gameplay, but Resident Evil 2 classic kind of feel. Like, that was $60. That I didn't have a problem with, because I never bought the original game, and it's such a different game. If they put Mario 64 in the Odyssey engine and it's just Mario 64 level, get the star, do the same stuff, I'm not giving them money for that. Ocarina of Time, if they remade that, if it's the exact same game but just with better visuals, and you're going to ask $60, I'm not going to buy it. Now come out with $40 price tags, okay. If it's something I really want, that's fine. What is a $20 difference? Why is it such a big deal for me? Because if Sony, the company I used to say was the greediest company, can release Shadow of the Colossus remake for $40, they can release I guess Dark Demon Souls. I don't think that's them specifically. If that's $60, then okay, they're back to the bullshit. But that was $40. What was it last? They didn't do a lot. So God of War 3 was what, 20 or 40 when it came out. It wasn't 60. It wasn't 50. If Sony can do that, then Nintendo can do that. If Microsoft can do all these free upgrades and add backwards compatibility and all this stuff instead of having to rebuy games, if they can do it, then everybody can do it. Yeah, I know Microsoft's got a lot more money and stuff, but you see what I'm saying? It's like once somebody shows me the way, like, hey, we can do this. Like Hollow Knight, $15. The day it came out, it was $15 for this like 40-hour amazing Metroid style indie game that has some of the best music and art direction or art style in any game, let alone an indie game. It's definitely indie game wise. It just blows everything away. It's $15. Why would I pay $40 for Yooka-Laylee or the original Yooka-Laylee after it was a Kickstarter? Why would you pay $20 for the Goose game that's like a 2-3 hour game when Team Cherry releases Hollow Knight for $15? You know what I'm saying? Like once somebody shows you what's possible without greed as a factor, or and it's not anti-consumer on purpose, it's greed. Okay, we can charge $60 for Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. We'll just add this BS easy mode so people know that we did something to it. Well, we can charge $60, so we will. 2 million people bought it at $60. Oh, they can, so they did. If it sold 50,000 copies, guess what? The next game wouldn't have been $60, or there wouldn't have been a next game. And it's just stupid to have to talk about this. I know people are sick of hearing me talk about it. I'm sick of having to talk about it. I'm sick of seeing the next port get announced. I'm fucking sick of it. And I told the Juices Loose guys in the chat we're in, if my Switch breaks and stops working and it's something that can't be fixed like relatively cheap, I'm not buying another Switch. I don't give a shit. They're not getting any more of my money for a Switch, for a Joy-Con, for a Pro Controller. They're not getting any more of my money other than Breath of the Wild 2, for sure. Bayonetta 3, if it looks like a great game. And then if another 3D Mario, if Odyssey 2 or something comes out. That's it. It's just the way it is, and it sucks to say that. Get ready for Wii Sports Deluxe. Yeah, actually, I don't think that would work. I know you're just joking, but I don't think the Joy-Cons are capable of achieving that. And it's like, I just hate talking about this. The excuses. Well, this games are stuck on the Wii U. I want people to play them. Well, guess what? They can play Captain Toad 2. They can play Pikmin 4. How many fucking games have you played that was a sequel where you didn't play the original? I do it all the time. I played Devil May Cry 5. It's the first Devil May Cry game I've ever played in my life. I've never played one before. And I enjoyed the game. I played Uncharted 2 and I didn't play 1. I haven't played 3. I played Uncharted 4 though. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, to me, it doesn't matter. Like, you could thoroughly enjoy Doom Eternal without having played Doom 2016 or any other Doom. Like, that shit's just stupid. You telling me people wouldn't have enjoyed Mario Kart 9 because they missed Mario Kart 8? Or they couldn't enjoy Donkey Kong Country Returns 3, whatever you want to call it, Tropical Freeze 2, without having played Tropical Freeze. Are you fucking kidding me? Mario Kart 9 would have sold just as many copies as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It wouldn't have sold less. There's no reason it would have sold less. It would have sold the same or more. It's like, yeah, it probably wouldn't have been out in the first year, though. But who knows? It might have been. I mean, that game was done in 2014. If they didn't do ARMS, I'm pretty sure they could have had Mario Kart 9 out in at least early 2018. And it's just a stupid argument. If you want to bring them digitally. Make them $20. Hey, you missed New Super Mario Brothers U? Here you go. It's $20. Buy it on the eShop. It's like, oh, Terminator Juice has that digitally on the Wii U. Maybe we'll just let him re-download that if he wants to on his Switch. Like, it's just fucking stupid, man. I just fucking hate this. Oh, T's live streaming too. That's funny. Just gonna bypass it today. Damn it, T. Well, and mine. And it's therapeutic. But yes, I know it's probably I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing me talk about it. It's going to keep happening. They keep announcing new Wii U ports. There's not that many left, but it's going to keep happening. Are Wii U and Switch accounts even linked? I linked my Switch account to my what's it called? It's not Club Nintendo anymore. Nintendo, blah, whatever that worthless fucking thing is. If I log in, it shows all my Wii U purchases. I haven't logged in a while to see if it shows my Switch purchases, but it's like, you can't see that I have Pikmin 3 digitally, that I have fucking Tropical Freeze digitally. Why can't I just play those on the Switch? Don't give me the extra stuff. Just let me play the basic version again. Like, it's just stupid. And this generation coming up is really going to set the standards when it comes to backwards compatibility. When it comes to, hopefully, Microsoft is going to do well so that their smart delivery and all this free enhancement stuff becomes the norm, where there are people looking at Sony like, well, what are you doing over here, Sony? Why is Last of Us Part 2, why do I have to rebuy a PS5 version to get a better looking version or get a 60 frames per second version? What's going on? Microsoft's not doing that. Why are you? Nintendo, why is your Switch 2 not backwards compatible? Like, this is unacceptable. And they're like, oh, well, the Wii U is backwards compatible. No one cared. Well, guess what? The Wii was a failure. But the people who had a Wii U and had a Wii library with Wii remotes and nunchucks appreciated being able to play all their Wii games on the Wii U without having to keep both systems hooked up. AK Slayer, I'm not sick of hearing it. So many big YouTubers have been fine in defending ports for the Switch. I know. And I'm fucking sick of it. What does it matter to you? Complain about it, ain't gonna do nothing. Like, it doesn't do anything. It makes me feel better because I'm not just sitting there thinking about it. Once I say it, then it kind of lets it out, and I'm kind of done with it for a while. Yeah, and Switch knows your Wii U's friends list, Visor. It's true. Miiverse Deluxe, $60. I would pay for Miiverse to come back. That's the other thing. I'm not renewing my Nintendo Online. So I probably should be playing Smash because I only got a few months left. I should play as much as I can, but I'm not renewing. Even the $8 or whatever we have with Terrell, we give him $8 and he does the family plan thing. Even then, I'm not giving him that money. I don't need the NES and Super NES games. I don't even play them. I don't give a shit. I played Star Fox for 30 minutes. I played a few other games for probably an hour total. I just don't fucking care. Do you care, Sophie? Let me see if she cares. Do you care? Do you care about Wii U ports? Huh? I don't think you do. You don't look like you do. Look. She's like, fucking let go of me, please. It's just, God. I'm gonna get out of here because I want to watch T's video. Maybe play some Rocket League, but I just had to get this off my chest. So appreciate you guys for tuning in, listening to this. But again, hopefully, don't just stand by and sit there and see these third-party companies trying to screw over gamers, even if it's a game you're not interested in or you're not going to buy. Just retweet. At the very least, retweet. Somebody tweets about it. Retweet it. Fucking like it. Just help. Of course you're going to grab that. She fucking always grabs these things. There's another one. Just retweet them. You don't have to do much. Just retweet. I tweeted something earlier to Remedy and 505 Games. No one liked it. No one retweeted it. Just do small things. Let's stop this before it becomes a problem. So, anyway, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Peace.